This is Dream Chasers Episode 9 with Logan Sneed. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Adam Carswell, and welcome to Dream Chasers, Interviews with the Future. On Dream Chasers, we interview individuals with supernatural amounts of potential based on early success in their careers. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's get straight to the interview. Hey guys, this is Adam Carswell, and today I'm joined by Logan Sneed. Logan is an entrepreneur and founder of fusionlean.com. Not to mention, he is also a brain cancer survivor with a pretty incredible story. Logan, thanks for being here. Do you have any opening remarks?
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me on here. You know, I'm excited. I've looked at some of your stuff. It's pretty great. But yeah, man, it's awesome to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Speaking with you before the interview, you kind of explained to me Fusion Lean and what you're doing, what the product you have to offer individuals out there is like. However, the proper term to describe who you are and what you do would be a public influencer. So how long have you been a public influencer?
It's always been a passion of mine or a desire of mine to be an overall entrepreneur. You know, I've always had that sort of mentality of, you know, being, you know, a motivator and inspirational people, you know, that sort of stuff, you know, like Tony Robbins, I've always looked up to him. And, you know, it was coincidentally, I say coincidentally, but, you know, a crazy thing happened is when I was diagnosed with my tumor, and I had to do radiation, chemo, all that sort of stuff. And whenever I started discovering my path as, you know, as to why I believe this happened, it was brought on me. All that sort of stuff, and showing people the journey that I was going through. People were seeing what I was doing, how I was doing it, and just the overall journey. And it sparked me, you know, in my journey in helping show other people that if you're going through something, you know, you can overcome it. So I would say, you know, whenever I really overcame what I was going through, and I mean, you know, and I really nailed down the journey as a whole, people were really intrigued with that, and they were very inspired. And so, you know, I just continued on with it, and, you know, all of a sudden it kind of helped me become, you know, an inspiring public figure to, you know, a very large audience, that's, you know, now that I'm reaching out to.
Absolutely. That's pretty cool. And definitely to have a unique experience like that, I think is something that can define you and define you in the right way and help you set an example for others who are looking to kind of take control of their mind.
Yeah, for sure.
When did you first, so you kind of touched on this now on that first question, but when was there a definitive moment when you were like, all right, this is something I want to take to the next level?
I would say that, you know, with my journey through being diagnosed with a brain tumor, you know, I had to figure out an answer. I had to figure out, like, hey, like, what am I going to do to overcome this? What am I going to do to beat this? Because doctors are telling me that there's nothing I can really do. They're basically just saying give up. And that really is that's not something I personally will settle for. So that's what sparked me into finding a way around what the doctors were telling me. And so that's what allowed me to find the ketogenic diet. And following the ketogenic diet has helped me see huge results in conquering this brain tumor and this journey. And going through this, it's allowed me to transform personally, you know, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And because of that, that's what has really inspired people of saying, wow, okay, if he's going through chemo, radiation, and surgery, yet he's losing 10% body fat and completely developing a whole new body and overall look, while all that's going on, then why can't I do that? What is he doing, and how is he doing it? And so, you know, all of a sudden I just said one day, I was like, I kind of want to create a business of something. And I was like, well, you know, if people want to know what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, why don't I create this sort of plan? And so basically I nailed down everything I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And that's what right then and there kind of, you know, sparked my overall, that really kicked it along even more of becoming a bigger public influencer and entrepreneur. And that's kind of where I began, you know, fusionlean.com. And ever since then, my goal is to really, like, help people just change their life and create the best version of themselves, because that's what I have to work for. My job every day is creating the best version of myself, everything from my health to my environment, to who I'm around, to what I want to do, all that sort of stuff. That's my daily goal, my daily job that I love. And if people want to follow that, they can. And that's what really has sparked my overall public influencer, growth aspect.
Right. So what would you say are some of the downsides to being in the space that you're in? And then what are the positives?
I wouldn't say, to be honest with you, that there's really a downside because it's something that I love in every sense, possible. It's something that has been a dream of mine. I feel like I was born for it. And now that I'm going through this, I feel like this whole situation came for a reason. So I really don't see any downside. I think that some downside that people can maybe envision with it is that, okay, well, if I'm going to be a public influencer, don't I have to have this perfect rah-rah lifestyle? Because that can be a little difficult, and then that's just hard. Well, no, that's the thing about being a public influencer is that you have to be you. And when you are you and you are just being honest and truthful as to what you are preaching, if you're going to practice what you preach and you're going to preach what you practice, that's relatable to people. And people want to have relatable things with other people. And so by seeing you, by seeing me coming out with this publicly, that's allowing them to, have it very relatable, and it's very real. So I wouldn't say that it's, there's downsides. If I'm struggling in something, I'm going to publicly, I'm not going to announce it as a big public thing, but it's just, it makes people feel more comfortable, and me being in the same shoes as them and us going through something together and conquering it. So I wouldn't say there's a downside. There may be a downside, but you can turn it into an upside. And I would say overall, what was the question of the positive aspect of it? Yeah. I would say, I would say overall, just with my business and my public figure aspect, people are going along in this journey with me. I'm not by myself. There's thousands of people viewing my YouTube videos daily. There's hundreds of thousands viewing my Instagrams every day. And they're going through the entire journey with me. And again, my goal personally is to create the best version of myself. And if anybody, which I'm going to assume that almost every person on earth wants to do it, but not many are willing to do it, everybody wants that. And so if they want to come along with me and do the same thing, then great, because if that happens, then lives are being changed. And if life is being changed, then hey, that's a win for me and my everyday goal. So man, there's always an upside, and that's where I take the downside and turn it into an upside. So man, it's been a dream of mine. It's something I'm extremely passionate about and what I've always wanted to do.
Right. And I like your response. You stressed how there are no downsides. You love what you're doing, and anything that would be considered a downside, if anything, is fuel to continue to create those positive experiences that you are going through every day.
Yeah, exactly.
So are there any industry leaders or role models that you're inspired by?
So yeah, that's a question I get asked, pretty frequent actually, because people see that I'm in the health and fitness sort of, market and stuff. But my main focus is, again, creating the best version of myself. And I'm not saying that all online trainers or anything are bad. I just look up to people who are more like a Tony Robbins. To me, that's somebody that wants to create the best version of themselves. Yes, they focus on health. Yes, they focus on nutrition. Yes, they focus on their goals. Yes, they focus on their business. And yes, they focus on other people. I think a lot of other online fitness people I'm not saying that they all focus on themselves, but their main focus is just one aspect of, working out and eating right food and just seeing a physical change. I want a full life change. Mm-hmm. And so Tony Robbins to me is somebody who is really, really about that. And somebody that I thoroughly look up to and what he does, how he does it. And he's so real. He's got 100% energy all the time. And his energy is coming from the people he's around, what he's doing, how much he cares for them, his daily habits and all that sort of stuff. So I'd say Tony Robbins is probably, the main one that I look up to. But I also look up to I don't know if you know who Dr. Berg is. He's a renowned doctor that has 1.5 million subscribers, and he's a ketogenic guru, and the ketogenic diet is what I follow. And I actually just did a YouTube video with him, and it was such an honor to spend a full day with him. And I've always looked up to him in the ketogenic diet, and even the business aspect. And that's the thing that he doesn't really talk about or show on his page or his YouTube. But we talk a lot about business and stuff, and just things past health and nutrition, and that really inspired me, and that's somebody else that I definitely look up to as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, especially I imagine the experience of you getting to share time with someone that you follow and learning their ways. I imagine that just probably flipped a whole nother light bulb on in your head.
Oh, for sure, man. It really is. And it's crazy because, Tony Robbins, he has a brain tumor in his head. Now his is a little bit different than mine, but he has one in his head. And so that's something that he's, having to, monitor every day. And then, Dr. Berg, he's a keto genius, and he's, very successful, and we're in the same market. And so, yeah, it's two big factors for sure on looking up to these people.
What do you do for inspiration?
What I do is when I wake up, I keep, before I go to bed, I turn my phone onto airplane mode, so that way I don't check it at night or anything like that. And when I wake up, I do not turn it off airplane mode. I simply grab my book, and then I will make a coffee in the morning, and I'll stretch, and I'll basically prepare myself for the day. And that right there motivates and inspires me because, preparing for the day and what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and just, envisioning an amazing day, that right there inspires me. And while I'm doing this I will listen to motivational, videos and that sort of stuff. And I love doing that. I mean, that really sparks a fire, while I'm making my coffee and that sort of stuff. But overall, man, what inspires me is conquering the odds, because, I had a doctor tell me that, I only have 1 to 10 years left to live, and that, my tumor will come back. Not maybe, but that it will come back. And I personally do not believe that it will come back, because it won't come back. And I know this whole thing is going to be conquered, and already is conquered. And so that inspires me of proving the odds wrong, of, showing people that it always seems impossible until it is done. And that's a quote by Nelson Mandela. In that when you really put your mind to something, you really envision something, and when you want it bad enough, you turn a want into a need. That inspires me, because I feel that everybody is the CEO of their life. Now, not every CEO can be a successful CEO of their life. And what I mean by that is they believe they can't get too far in their life. They think that it's too difficult in seeing results. They think it's too difficult in being successful, or they've gone through too much to be happy, or that, it's not likely that something will happen. That's not a successful life CEO. And I believe successful life CEO is simply conquering the odds and, living to the quote of it always seems impossible until it is done. So that's really what, inspires me overall. Absolutely.
I definitely agree with you. The power of visualization. We all have the power to create our own reality. It's a gift and a blessing that we've all been given. And when we reach that point of awareness, which I can definitely say, it seems as though you have, I'm sure you've got a lot more potential to unlock, like we all kind of feel we do. But once we have that awareness of how much power we do have to create what we want, it's pretty cool. Yeah, for sure, man. It really is. What advice do you have for young entrepreneurs? And can you give an example of something that you wish you would have done differently looking back? Yeah, advice that I would give young entrepreneurs is that, have a vision. Have a vision and really envision it every single day. Because I personally have always envisioned myself, living exactly where I'm living right now, doing exactly what I'm doing. And believe it or not, I actually envision myself doing a full video with Dr. Berg and learning from him and having him become a mentor of mine. And again, of course, I didn't think of that right away, thinking that was going to be realistic or that would happen. But I envisioned it. I just imagined about what that would be like. And now every single thing that I've ever envisioned in my life is actually happening.
So that's my biggest tip, is really envision something. Now, the most difficult thing for people starting a business, I would say, is getting started and conquering a failure, because again, 9 out of 10 startup businesses will fail, but then 9 out of 10, people who start another business and do it again will succeed. So really have to understand that it is not going to be, Rome wasn't built in a day, and a business will not be built in a day. But every single day is a day of success, because if you are executing every day, that's success. If you're going to fail at something, maybe a day doesn't go great in the business, you can learn from that, and that will turn it into a success. So that's my biggest tip on that for sure. And really also another one is that, really make yourself different. You have to make yourself different in the person that you are, what you're offering, and practicing what you preach and preaching what you practice. If you have a belief in whatever, business you want to come out with, whether that's like this new top-notch, workout tool or something, if you thoroughly believe, what this can do and how this can help people, preach it, show how it can work, show what it will do, And for me, I really believe in the ketogenic diet and what it's doing for me and many other people. And that's what I believe. So, I preach and I practice those things, and people will follow it with me. And so that shows the representation of who you are. And from there, that's how you, grow your public figure and develop growth in the brand behind you as a person. So that's my biggest tip. And I would say what I've learned, was that the question? What I've learned the most?
Yeah. Or if there's anything that you wish you would have done differently looking back.
Yeah. Oh man. I would say being patient, because I think naturally I can be a very impatient person, but I can take that into a positive. And what I mean by that is that, like, I'm always the type of person that's like, okay, what's next? When is this going to be done? I need it done right now. Not necessarily like, okay, hey, when is the business going to get to this level? I'm always looking for something else to improve on, to do, to grow the business. So sometimes I can be focused on something that's not even in the present time, while I should be focusing on the present time. So I would say having overall patience is a thing that I wish I could go back and teach myself and understand and really, learn from.
Right. I think that's a fair, a common trait that we see in young entrepreneurs. I know I've been there as well. Is you've got this new business, you got all these exciting ideas, and you want everything to come to fruition right out of the gate. But as you mentioned, Rome wasn't built in a day. Yeah,
for sure, man.
All right, we got our last 3 questions here, some fun ones for you. Can you let the listeners know what your favorite month out of the year is, your favorite food, and your favorite color?
My favorite month out of the year, oh gosh, I never thought about that. I think part of it can do with what I have planned. My birthday is June 25th, so I love June, obviously.
Okay.
But man, that's hard. I would say something about maybe December and January together. I think part of my reason is, it's holiday. It's somewhat relaxing. There's Christmas coming around. Everybody's kind of enjoying their time and stuff together. And then I like January just because it's like a boom. Okay, I have these goals set, and this is going to happen. I'm excited for this, and there's so much more to come. This is going to be the best year of my entire life. I would say that's kind of a refreshing start for everybody. So I'd say December and June are probably my favorite. And then the next one, my favorite food. Gosh, okay, this is hard to answer because
right. fusionlean.com. What are we eating?
Man, I'm a food lover, and man, I would say that I'm gonna have more than one answer. Eggs are honestly my favorite food out there. Simple, healthy, effective, affordable, convenient, all that sort of stuff. Eggs, I would say, are my favorite. I would say that Brussels sprouts are also one of my top one out there. Man, oh gosh, I would say an avocado is up there. I have one every day. Man, I'm gonna say steak, ground beef, bacon, all that sort of stuff. That's all. Yeah, man, that's hard to narrow down.
It all sounds good to me.
What's that?
I said it all sounds good to me.
Yeah. No, it never gets old. Yeah, I would say, what was the next?
Favorite color?
Favorite
I know this
color.
could be a tough one too.
I would say, blue, just in general, because that's the main color of my brand. But I would say blue, honestly, is. I think it can. I don't know. I think it can represent. I've heard some signs about it. Triggering trust and sort of different, adjectives and aspects of life that blue is tied around. So I would say blue, just as overall, when people look, in my opinion, what I think, when people look at it, it's more of a relaxing sort of color. It's very powerful. So I would say blue overall, man. It's probably my favorite.
Cool. Blue is a cool color. I'm looking at a perfectly blue sky outside right now. We got some beautiful weather here in DC today. Are you in Austin right now?
Yeah, I'm in Austin. It's straight cloudy, and it was pouring rain and thunder and lightning today.
Right. So blue is around the corner for you guys.
Yeah, it'll be coming.
Nice. All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. Again, this was Logan Sneed, founder of fusionlean.com and also very powerful public influencer. You can follow Logan with all the information we're going to have in the description of this video. Logan, do you have any final comments?
Yeah, I would say that when you put your mind to something and you envision it and you want it bad enough, you will get it. Okay. Now, nothing's going to be handed to you, obviously, but when you really put in the work and you look at the journey, not the end point of what you're seeking, you will get what you want. Because I think a big mistake of people wanting to, shred fat and transform physically, or wanting to start a business, or wanting to, do certain aspects in their life and create certain success. I think a lot of people are always looking at the end picture of, I can't wait till I get there. I can't wait till this happens. Instead of looking at that, to create true success in your life, looking at the time of now in the journey, day by day, executing day in and day out, that right there is true success in life. Because again, starting something is one thing, but continuing it for as long as you are willing to go through with it, that's success, in my opinion. And the end picture is never there, and that's not what success is. So that's the last comments that I have, and I'm all about creating the best version of myself.
Perfect. Couldn't have said it better myself. So everyone, thanks for listening, and we will see you in the next episode.